Welcome back, horse lovers. In this video, we're going to be continuing on the theme of how you can improve your signals when asking your horse to stop. We're going to be looking specifically at how you can use your seat to help your horse understand what you're asking of him. You can add a seat signal to your stop at any point in the process. Not everyone uses a seat signal, but I highly recommend that you train yourself to use your seat effectively. Your seat is the part of your body that is directly connected to your horse's body. It should actually be your main way of signaling to your horse what you want. Your reins and legs should actually be your secondary signal. It's good to note that not everybody uses the same signal. In all my videos, I've made it my aim to provide a simple and easy to use guide for things that are sometimes a bit complex. So this is how I would use a stopping or limiting seat signal. Don't be afraid to make an adjustment if you feel like it will work better for you and your horse. Now, just as with the blocking rein signal, we had to have an elastic contact. The same can be said with the seat. You want to make sure that you have a soft following seat under normal riding circumstances. A lot of riders will cling on with their knees all the time when they ride. While doing this might make you feel safer, it's very tiring for you and your horse. It also blocks your movement and makes it harder for you to connect with your horse's back. Instead, find your seat bones and balance on them. To do this, simply place your hands under your bum. You'll find a sharp, pointy part through your muscle. Try to balance the weight of your head and shoulders over those bones in your bum. Next, relax your legs, seat, and spine so that they can jostle with your horse. Let your horse's back and shoulders roll your pelvis around. If you're doing it right, you'll look like Shakira. If you're doing it wrong, you'll look more like a duck trying to walk in gumboots. And again, don't try to move for your horse. Let your horse move you. It's easy to check on this because, well, those hips don't lie. In light seat or rising trot, you might have to use a little bit more pressure with your knees to stay balanced. There's nothing wrong with that, but keep your hips and your ankles as relaxed as you can. Again, practice is the key. So you're going to start with walk and gradually progress through the gaits. Now that you've developed a following seat, you can progress to signal 4, the blocking seat. To signal a stop with your seat, start by leaning a little bit back, just a little bit, around 2 degrees behind the vertical. The reason for this is to help your horse shift his center of gravity backwards so that he can stop a little bit more easily. To make this easier to understand, I'm going to challenge you to get up and try an experiment. Do a quick sprint and try to stop suddenly while you're leaning forward. Then you're going to sprint again, but this time you're going to lean back when you stop. Which one was easier? Your horse might walk on 4 legs, but he feels the exact same shift of balance when stopping, so it's good to try help him along. Second part is to open your seat and really try to sit deep so you can connect a little bit more when you signal. If you're doing this in a rising trot, you're going to do it in the sitting phase of the trot for 1 beat. Remember that you're always providing a signal, you're not starting a wall. If the horse doesn't respond straight away, simply keep repeating the signal and increasing the strength of it till your horse does. It sounds a little bit like using the least amount of force necessary to get the right response. Once you've made this deeper connection with the horse's back, close your knees a little bit again, just for 1 beat. This is the seat version of closing your fists. Closing your knees will restrict your horse's shoulders and limit the ability of your hips to follow your horse's motion. So your seat essentially ends up blocking his forward movement. That signals to him in a very direct way that he should stop moving. The last part of this process is to release. This is a form of reward in itself, and it's very important because it stops your seat from locking up or annoying your horse. But of course, praise, because you can never have too much of a good thing. Unless it's treats. You can definitely have a little too much of those. A bonus tip is to try to have your lower legs underneath you during this process, instead of letting them slide forward. This is just another really good way to help your horse adjust his body when he stops. But it's also something that you can add later in your training, so if you've got too much to remember, just leave it out for now. Using your seat to signal your horse can not only be more powerful than your hands, but it also makes you less likely to fall off if something goes wrong. It can help you to gain control of horses more quickly and effectively if something does go wrong, because it gives your core a solid foundation and it anchors you. It's also essential to build this foundation if you ever have dreams of riding bridleless or bare, because it will become your only real means of communication if you remove the bridle. If you want to use the seat signal, but you're finding it a little bit difficult to do everything all at once, just focus on each step one at a time until it becomes easy, and then you can add the next step. You could also practice getting everything at walk first, then gradually work your way up the paces, working on each of these elements until they become second nature. You don't have to do everything all at once when you're new to something. You just have to work on one element at a time until it's so easy that you don't really think about it anymore. In conclusion, I just want to say that when it comes to teaching anything, you should always aim to guide your horse to the right response rather than force it. Pose questions, give him options, be patient, and reward him for getting the right response. If you keep using these basic principles of horse training in your riding work, I can guarantee that no matter what equipment you use or what style of riding you choose to do, your horse will become a pleasure to ride. Happy horsekeeping, everyone!